of all, I want to say welcome. My name is Chris Fettner. I'm the managing director of EGA, the Entertainment Globalization Association here in Hollywood. I want to welcome all the EGA members, the invited guests, and particularly I want to welcome the faculty and students from the North Carolina School of the Arts. We have quite a lot of students that have joined us today for this. We also have some students from the University of Southern California Cinema Studies program, and we have some members of the Screen Actors Guild and from CODA. So we're pleased that we can have this conversation with lots of different professionals and aspiring professionals in the entertainment industry. We have some great guests today. We're hoping that one of them has not yet joined. We're hoping he'll be able to join a little bit later. First, I want to welcome Tobias Meister. So Tobias grew up in this industry. He's been a voice actor since he was a child. He is an accomplished actor, both on screen as well as a voice actor in Germany. Some of the notable voices that he plays for American actors is the voice of Sean Penn, Gary Sinise, Kiefer Sutherland, Jack Black, Gary Oldman, and of course, Brad Pitt. So welcome, Tobias. Thank you for joining.
Hi, folks. Good to see you. That's a very cool thing to be here. Thank you. I'm honored. It's a pleasure. It's a fun. Thank you.
And would you like to share your joke now, Tobias, very quickly?
Well, we're talking about understanding and perception of language and so on. And so I would like to offer a tiny little joke to make that clear a little bit. Like there is a ship in front of the German coast, which is sinking and having bad problems. And the captain radios, Mayday, 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 Mayday. We are sinking. We are sinking. Please help us. We are sinking. And so the guy from the German Coast Patrol Guard is on the radio and saying, hello, this is the German Coast Guard control. What are you thinking about?
Very good. It shows the challenges with translation, right? So thank you for that. And then we have Jean-Pierre Michel. Jean-Pierre is also a very accomplished actor in Paris. He's been a member of the La Comédie Française. I think I said that wrong, Française.
La Comédie Française.
For 17 years. He began his acting career in 1993 as an actor in commercials. He first voiced the Brad Pitt in the movie Devil's Own. In addition to Brad Pitt, he provides the French voice for Ben Affleck, Keanu Reeves, Ethan Hawke, Jude Law, and Damian Lewis, among many others. Welcome, Jean-Pierre, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Yes, and then hopefully we have Sandro Acerbo will be joining us in a bit. He also started his career as a actor at 9 years old. He was the voice of Michael Banks in Italy for Mary Poppins. He later went on to be the voice of Patch in 101 Dalmatians, Hattie Jr. in Jungle Book, and Kurt Von Trapp in Sound of Music. As an adult, he provides the voice in Italy to Hugh Grant, Dan Aykroyd, Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, and of course, Brad Pitt. In addition to his work as an actor, he's also a successful entrepreneur, and he's the CEO of the Italian dubbing company CDC Sedef. So hopefully we'll be able to, I think he just joined actually. So welcome, Sandro, so much for coming and participating. There he is, good. I hope I got all that right. So first of all, thank you all. I think this is a really cool session. It's going to allow a lot of people in the United States to understand the concept of dubbing a little bit better and the actors that are associated with it. So maybe, Tobias, you could start us off with just explaining the concept of a fixed voice actor. What is it exactly? And then maybe talk a little bit about how you first became the voice of Brad Pitt.
Well, to fulfill my job is to get as close to the original intention of the actor and the director of the original movie. So in order to translate the original meaning for the German audience, to make them understand, sometimes we don't have the same words. We need to find something else, as I'm also writing dialogue and directing myself. So I know about this a lot, and it's really finding the right way to express the same thing. And when I'm dubbing myself, when I'm acting, I wanted to be as close to the original as I can produce it.
Yeah.
So when I started to be a voice actor, I started actually in 1985. I was doing some children's stuff before that, but 1985, I had to look it up. So I was like 28 years old, and that's my parents and grandparents were actors, and I sort of slipped into it. I was the smallest dwarf with 5 years old. I was the smallest dwarf of the 7 dwarfs in some Christmas thingy and Cologne, and so I sort of, I grew into it. I was very lucky to have these wonderful people around me I could learn a lot from, and I always learned by doing. And so I was very lucky to get into the whole thing.
Thank you very much. So Jean-Pierre, maybe you could also just follow up on that. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that there's always an actor, you or Tobias or Sandro are always the voice. When Brad Pitt has a new movie, it's pretty much understood in your market that you will be that voice. So could you kind of speak to that a little bit and sort of, what that looks like as a fixed voice actor?
Well, there is no contract between me and Brad Pitt or the studios and me. It's a natural thing that happens along the way, because when you begin to dub Brad Pitt, you don't know you're going to dub it for your whole life. And I'm not sure I will dub in for the next movies. But as you said, the public, when seeing the movies with him, associate the voice they hear with the face they see. And so from films to films, they hear, and they are waiting to hear that voice. If they don't, they are shocked. And it's like you gave your own Brad Pitt the voice of Robert Downey Jr. That wouldn't work. It would be very shocking for you to see that. That's the same thing here. And a good dubbing is a dubbing you don't hear. You cannot see the difference, and that's very pretentious from us. But the goal for us is that dubbing is something you shouldn't hear. You shouldn't be shocked by anything, any word, any mouth movement, any emotion, any word. That's the goal of our job.
Yeah. Okay, good. And so this next question is for Sandro. Sandro, how do you recall the first time you did the voice for Brad Pitt, and sort of how did it come about? Like how did you become the voice for Brad Pitt? Hopefully he heard us. Hey, Sandro. Okay. It appears that he doesn't hear. We can come back to that question for Sandro. So this is really a question for kind of everybody. But like I said, it is kind of hard for Americans because they don't necessarily have the same dubbing tradition, although we're starting to get it as platforms like Netflix are starting to import a lot of content from other places. But talk a little bit about that kind of connection. When we were preparing for this conversation, you kind of alluded to that fact that it would be shocking for somebody to not hear your voice and see a Brad Pitt movie. So maybe Tobias, could you speak to that a little bit?
Well, let's hear if Sandro is back online now. Is he? Yeah. I'm not sure. Oh no. So sorry, I was distracted. What was the question?
So the question is, sort of like how in Germany, how would viewers respond to a Brad Pitt movie that didn't have your voice?
That's right. That happens. And the thing is that everybody connects face and voice immediately. And once it's somewhere connected in the brain, they would expect that, and they feel a little awkward. Some people won't even know why, but some people will recognize immediately, and some will just have a feeling something is wrong, and they will feel awkward because that's the connection. So of course I understand very much that for an American audience, my voice is not Brad Pitt's original voice. So if you hear me dubbing Brad Pitt in German, you will feel the same awkwardness people would feel if they hear somebody else. So the connection in the brain is related to kind of the first time you hear that and you see that. So it is a strange feeling, and it's always it sometimes happens that somebody does not like it and changes your voice for some reasons, whatever. And then somebody else will do it, and the audience will always recognize it. And especially in Germany, as we have a long tradition of dubbing, and many people are used to that, of course.
Yeah, and I think this doesn't pertain to you, but there was an incident in Germany where I guess the actor for Woody Allen wasn't available to record something, and it actually had a negative impact on the movie, the box office, if I remember correctly. Do you recall that?
He was unfortunately he was very sick. He couldn't do it. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's. What about Jean-Pierre? Is it basically the same? And is that same dynamic true of France? That you pretty much, if the French audience, if there's a voice that's not the normal character voice, or that it would have an impact on the way people perceive the content?
Yes, I remember from the last Tarantino movie, not the last one, the Nazi one. I don't remember the name of it.
Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards. They did record the trailer with another voice. They try to change me every time because they think that it's going to cost them less and it's better for them, for the studios. So they try to change me, and they recorded the trailer with another voice. It was on YouTube, and there was like thousands of comments about the voice, about what's that shit, we don't want to see that, we're not going to see that, and so on and so on. So they called me back and said, well, we have a problem. Could you please come back and try to record for us that new movie? Since we go to Cannes now, we are very, very concerned about the future of the movie. It would be great if you would accept now. They refused that at the first time.
Yeah, interesting. So it really does have a significant impact to how people perceive it. Let's move along. Hopefully Sandro is hopefully his audio, he can give me a thumbs up when he thinks his audio is good, hopefully. Let's talk a little bit about, to me, I think of dubbing as sort of remaking half the movie again. And you know, it's maybe you could both speak to that a little bit about the concept of rewriting the script for your culture and your language, the idea of re-recording the dialogue and then remixing everything. It really is, for France or for Germany or for Italy, it's like making half of the movie again. Do you agree with that? And maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
Jean-Pierre.
Well, it's true, yes, because we have to adapt the script to the French audience. So sometimes you have cultural things that we don't understand, and we have to adapt that for our culture. That's words, that's products, things you can buy at Walmart and we don't know here what it is. It's songs that you know when you were kids and we don't here. And that's everything around the local culture we have to adapt. And that's something that's the same in Germany, I'm sure. So that's a real work from the adapters. They write the script, they rewrite the script, but trying always to be the closest to the original. That's a challenge. Yeah. We never betrayed that.
Yeah. Anything to add, Tobias? Or?
I'm totally agreeing. This is absolutely perfectly the same what we're doing here. That's the goal is to be as close to the original and to, just make it. And exactly as Jean-Pierre said, it's if people don't realize it's dubbed, it's perfect. Unless they realize something is wrong, then it's probably not dubbed very well.
Yeah.
Too fast. Sorry, too fast with too little money. That's a problem sometimes. And also I get, sometimes people just don't want to pay the salary, and then there's a big hassle and sometimes fighting, and they never like to pay us. They don't like that. We're a cost factor, unfortunately, for them.
For them, the film is already done. So doing something else is always a cost not necessary.
Yeah.
But it is vital here.
I think Sandro now has his audio.
Yay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sandro, you can answer that question if you'd like as well, since you've been offline a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry for delay. I had the problems with the connection, and so only now. How are you?
So we're good. Let's go back for just a second, and maybe you could speak a little bit about how you became the voice of Brad Pitt for Italy.
Yeah. I'm coming. I became the voice of Brad Pitt in 1992. With the first movie I made was a movie with director Robert Redford. The title was A River Runs Through It.
Yes.
A River Runs Through It. And I remember that the dubbing director, that was Cesare Barbetti, the great voice of Robert Redford in Italy, told me, this one is handsome and can act. Dub him well and he will stay with you forever.
Right.
And it was prophetic. It was really prophetic. Ecco.
Yeah. I have a question about that later, but since you brought it up, I mean, when you are cast as a new voice, do you have a sense of how likely you are going to, how likely is this actor to be more successful? Do you ever have a sense of that? Or is it just sort of like a guess, you go and you do the work and hope that they find another job? Because your success is closely correlated to their success to some extent. Yeah.
Should I? Well, it's like actually I didn't think of anything of that. I went to my work and I was casted with, he was testing some other people, and then actually it was the German director for the film the film Seven, Joachim Kunzendorf, who actually picked me. It was not sent to Hollywood, and nobody decided in Hollywood in those days. They didn't care that much, or sometimes. So he was a young actor. He was pretty good and cool, and but I didn't have any idea, and I didn't. I don't even look up for many years. I didn't even look up what project is the next one to come. I just, I get a call, there's a new movie of him. Oh, good. And so on. So I didn't have any idea of what's going to happen with that over the years.
Yeah. How about Jean-Pierre? Same question. Do you have a sense sometimes when you see the performance or you see the actor that there's a chance that there'll be more success with that?
You can like some actors, you can find them good actors, but you don't know how they will perform during their whole career.
Yeah.
With Keanu Reeves that I'm doing, he had about 10 to 15 years where he was down and down. He didn't work anymore, or he didn't, just little project. And that changed my voice on him at that time. I don't know why. And then he came back with John Wick, and they called me back at this time. And now he's an A-list actor once again. Yeah. So you don't know what actors are going to leave. Yeah. It's very difficult. And as Tobias said, we are called not to do an A-list actor or a B-list actor. We are called for a work and somebody to dub. We don't know, most of the time, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Before getting to the project.
Yeah.
We don't
Okay.
read the script. We don't watch the film before, especially now with all the piracy prevention, where you cannot see anything before it's in the movie theater. So it's very complicated.
So yeah, that's actually a question I had later, but since you brought it up, I'll talk about it. How much interaction do you get with the content beforehand? Do you even get a chance to look at a script? Do you get a chance to watch the movie? And then if the answer is no, do you think that has an impact on your ability to do the voice? Do you think you could do something different if you could interact with it sooner?
We had the chance to watch movies before. They sent us, when there was big blockbusters or thing they cared about, we had the chance to watch it with private projection or DVDs and so on. But now with the privacy concerns, we don't see anything. We don't even have the real name of the film we are dubbing. We don't have even the real name of the studio that dubs the film. So we are coming in and we just watch a black and white movie with the name of the studio, of the dubbing company, of the director, of anything. And we barely see what they are talking about, it's not post-produced yet. And it's sometimes complicated, more than it was about 10 years or 15 years ago.
More important is the movie and less you see of the movie.
Yes,
right.
That's crazy. And we only see the part we're doing. So if you come for a 10 lines actor, you don't even know what happens in the movie.
Yeah. So this is a silly question, but does that hurt your ability to bring your performance? Do you think you would do something different, or would your performance be better if you had access to that material sooner? I mean, maybe it's a silly question, but I'm curious. I don't know, Tobias, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's like I'm usually watching all the movies before. I need to go to the studio, to a locked room. Somebody will open the files for me. I will watch it, and then the door is locked and only I can see it. I want to see it beforehand. And I want to kind of relate to the whole movie. I like to have a feeling. If that's not possible for some reasons, I will be in the studio starting to dub, and I will watch the whole scene before I do the scene. So at least I have a little idea of what's going on. And the director will explain to me the rest of the movie. But what Jean-Pierre now is talking about is the latest hot thing we have for security reasons. We call it, or it's called rotoscope. And the whole movie is just black. And then somebody speaks and you will see a little opening around the mouth, maybe just like that, or maybe like this. And then you see him talking, and then he turns into the counter, and then he's in the off, and then this is already done. So you don't see any of the body language. It's like an audio play to us. You know, you see a little bit of you don't see the reactions of the people things are said to. Especially cool if you have some kind of a science fiction movie and they're talking about things that don't really exist now, and they have a name and you don't see them. You can't. It's very difficult to find something similar in German if you don't even see what it is. You know, I was doing a movie and there were pillars, and pillars can be everything. And then later on, there were some sort of pillars, but you know, there's some like 3 German word for kind of what is a pillar, depending on what pillar it is. So that's not too easy. And this rotoscope thing is really just like doing an audio and you trying to grasp the rest. And I think that's one of the advantages, like which should be also paid for Jean-Pierre and Sandra and me, is like we have the experience. We do know the actor, the way he's acting. You know, we've seen him. We've been dubbing this actor in so multiple different roles and movies. Yeah. So we have an idea about how he will act, and we hear his voice, and we can see the face, even if we can't see the face. So that's a pretty cool thing to get an actor to know about for so many years and relate to his voice and his acting.
Yeah, Sandra.
I remember.
What do you think, Sandra?
Yeah, I remember. some years ago, I was the dubbing director of the Jurassic Park, and when we made the movie, the scenes about dinosaurs, the movie of the face of the actor was oh my god, oh my god. The other scene was totally black because the dinosaurs were in a second moment in the movie. And I remember when I dubbed Meet Joe Black, all the actors of the movie were invited in the studio to see all the movie. A perfect movie, like in a cinema. Now, 20 years later, like says Tobias, we don't see nothing. We are lucky if you see the nose or the one eye.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's something to think about. So let's talk a little bit about what is you all sort of explained it a little bit, but what is it? And we'll go through sort of one by one, and maybe we'll start with Tobias. But so what is you talked a little bit, Tobias, about watching the film, but what's the whole experience for you? You watch the film, I'm sure you think about it a little bit. What does a day in the life of a voice actor look like in terms of going into the studio and doing your work?
Well, I hope I'm waking up happily and have a great breakfast and morning and go out to work. And I'm very happy to see my colleagues in the studio. And there's, editor and the sound engineer and the director. And well, basically, we're having a good time together and a lot of laughing usually, like the movie Snatch. We all know about this weird language we produced there. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I think it's very nice I love my work. My work is my hobby. My hobby is my work. I'm a very lucky guy. And I always wanted to do that since I was a child, and I do what I wanted to do. So I feel lucky and happy and grateful. And just to work with a good spirit and work as a team. I like the teamwork. I get, the editor would tell me, you need to start a little bit early, a little pause there, and please the last bit a little bit slower, something like that. I can, okay, thank you. And sound engineer, a little bit more perspective, a little more loud or something. The director says, no, that's not that. It's like this feeling. And so I'm getting into that, and I like to listen to it. I listen to the take again and again if I need to, and to get it right. And sometimes it's just the one word, and that's sometimes the most difficult thing to dub. Like Gary Sinise says John at the Apollo 13 movie, which is a very important John. It's a question of what's going on now. Are these people going to die or not? They're all in this one John. I was directing it in those days, and I was the German voice of Gary Sinise. And this John, I recorded this John about 30 times before I thought, okay, that's the right John, which is now in the movie. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun and a lot of love, and it's good. It's cool.
I have the same question for you, Jean-Pierre. I just want, before you answer though, I just want to let people know that I am seeing the questions, and we will get to them as soon as we can. So I'm seeing people are asking questions. I just want them to know that we will get to them. But Jean-Pierre, if you could, walk us through, what does a session with you typically look like?
Well, since a year, it's very difficult because we are after lockdown. Now we are going to record alone. So there's only the director, the sound engineer, and the actor. Before, during normal times, we come at 9:30. We meet all the friends, all the actors that are going on different studios, not mine, but some on the right, on the left, whatever. And we meet together, so it's nice. We all know each other. We all work with each other on different projects all the time. And we go in the studio for 4 hours until 1:30 with both at least 2 or 3 actors at the same time on the mic, and we record. So we have fun, just like when you're rehearsing a play or playing for the TV or on stage or whatever. That's the goal of our work. It's to have fun and to be relaxed and to be happy. So sometimes it's not as funny as it should, because there are films that are a bit difficult to dub, or hard, or violent, or not very comfortable for audiences. Even for us, when you watch it, you just, oh my God, no, I have to reproduce that. I have to play that part. I don't like it. Or you don't like the actor sometimes.
Yeah.
He's just a shitty actor, and you say, oh my God, I have to do that better than he does. And I have to try to up the game a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's the fun part too, because we can bring some things. Sometimes we just have to try to reach what they do because they are such marvelous actors. Sometimes we can add a value to films, and that's great too.
Yeah. I would say you add value a lot because you're doing it for that particular culture and language. So I think it's great. Sandro, what about for you? What does it look like typically when you're doing your work in the studio?
I am very lucky to do this job, and when I go to the studio every morning, I am contento, sono molto contento. It's a particular job, always different every day. One day I dub Brad Pitt, another day I have Gary Sinise, another day I have Will Smith. Not others works are so different every day. And this is what I love of this work. The job now is changed for the pandemic. We work alone every day alone. One for time in every studio. And it's very, very sad to see a work so in this time. But I think in few months we return to work in the other mode.
Yeah, you all sort of alluded to this, so I'll ask, maybe for the sake of time, just one of you to answer. But how important is the whole team? You talked about the adapter and the engineer and the director. To me, it seems like it's very important that the whole team work well together. So maybe I don't know if somebody would like to answer that. How important is the whole team?
It's fundamental. Fundamental.
We are the last part of the game.
Sorry.
Excuse me, Sandro.
Yeah. No. Sorry. Go.
We actors, when we are recording, are the last part of the game. Before us, you have the translator, you have the adapter, you have the detector for the lip sync, you have the writer who writes that on the line, and then comes us.
Yeah.
And we are dependent on everything that happens before.
Yeah.
And we have problem because it's not done the right way. And we have to fix everything on the set, on the stage, on the studio, because it won't go back for another day. We have to fix that today, and the film has to be released. So we have a lot of responsibility, and we have sometimes to fix things, make translation decisions based on what we understand from the way they play or they act, because acting is not writing. It's not the same thing. and talking is not writing. And so we adapt. We are adapting what we are seeing on the movie at the last time.
Yeah.
Sometimes the work is perfect and you don't do anything. You just walk in a field of flowers and it's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a bit difficult.
You're walking in a different field.
Yes. A field of mind.
Let's there's a question that came up that actually is a question that I had as well, which is, have any of you ever actually met Brad Pitt?
No.
No. I assume Sandra, no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's
By far.
by far. Okay. So let me ask you this then. If you could meet him, what would you say to him? What would you like him to know?
Okay,
I wish being Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I was being Brad Pitt. Very, very well, very good. Spectacular to be Brad Pitt, not Sandro Acerbo.
Yeah, right. How about you, Tobias? What would you say to Brad Pitt, or what would you? How would that go?
Well, of course, I would say hi, and I'm very pleased to meet you. I've been working with you for such a long time. But I would like to explain him the way we fixed the issue with him not speaking German in Inglourious Bastards in the scene of the interrogation. As in the original, of course, he's not speaking German, and the soldier is speaking German, and he's got this one guy, the German actor, who speaks German and English, and he will translate it to him in English. And talk to the German prisoner in German. So to avoid this, because everybody is speaking German in this movie, we did it like the director had the creative idea to say, well, I'm not talking to this guy. Ask him, where are these guys? Blah blah blah. So we snuck out of this calamity a little bit with that. That was very awesome, very cool, good idea of the director, and it was a lot of fun. And I just would like to explain him how we did it in German with this issue of, German. Some people speak English and everybody speaks English basically, and only some speak German, and that's part of the scene. So it needed to be solved, and it was solved very well, excellently.
Yeah. How about for you, Jean-Pierre?
Well, I'd be very glad to meet him. I'd say hi, and the way I like the work he does since I know him, and mostly I'd like to let him know that I can show him some places in Paris he doesn't know, and we could hang out a bit for the night to have some drinks and talk about the work we do and the meeting we have that he doesn't know and is not aware of.
Yeah.
And the thing of life, that would be great.
Yeah. Do you feel, even though you've never met him, but you've the two of you have been intertwined for many years, all of you. Do you feel a connection to him, even though you don't know him personally? Do you feel maybe connected to Brad Pitt in a way?
On the professional way and the acting part, yes.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him, from what he does and how he acts. And that helped me a lot in my acting too. So I'm very grateful for that too.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. In these years and more. I remember the first acting of Brad Pitt. He was not so good like now. Now he made some shows, many intelligent films, not for box office only, and I appreciate this choice from Brad Pitt.
I'm now going to ask a very controversial question, and I remind you that we're recording this. So what is your favorite Brad Pitt film? I'll start with you, Tobias.
Well, it's two. It's Snatch and Inglourious Bastards and Fight Club, of course, but is Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club. Okay, good. How about you, Jean-Pierre?
I think that if I had to choose one, that would be Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button. That's a good choice. You both picked David Fincher films, by the way, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And Sandro, how about you?
For me, the best one is Meet Joe Black.
I'm
This one
sorry.
was great too. Meet Joe Black.
Meet Joe Black. Meet
Oh
Joe
yeah,
Black.
that is a good one. Yeah, that is a good one, and
was
very different than the rest of them actually. That's fascinating. Are there any particular lines that you remember and that stick with you when you think about these films? Yeah, Tobias, you're nodding your head.
Well, I have two. Of course, it's Gentlemen Willkommen im Fight Club. That was, of course, everybody wants me to perform that.
Yeah.
And I need what was it? Something like ich war wohl rein für meine Mann, zwei per Winkel. This was from Snatch, which was very, very much fun and very funny.
Very good.
Yes.
How about you, Jean-Pierre?
Well, that would be the Snatch lines too.
Yeah. Okay. Just because it was such a unique
It was crazy. Yes, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Because you cannot understand more than 2 words per sentences. So that's crazy.
Yeah. Sandro, how about you?
I don't remember yesterday's lines. So
That's right. They're all good. You have no favorites. Yeah. Talk a little bit about, if you could, we talked about what you think maybe his best work was. Let's talk about maybe movies that you would be less culturally familiar with. So for instance, Moneyball is largely a movie about baseball. Baseball is not that popular in Europe. So how did you get prepared for that? How did you, there's probably a lot of things that you didn't know about. How did you make sure that you could at least do the lines and understand it a little bit?
That's mostly the work of the adapters, not ours. They had to do research about baseball, about terms they could use, because we have some baseball teams here, but it's really a small part and not very well known. So he had to have meetings with them to understand what would be the French word for what they are saying, etc., etc. But from the acting part, there's no difference.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is perfectly the same what Jean-Pierre said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And what about I had another I guess the same would be true of Fury, right? I talked a little bit about Fury, and it's a very specific sort of tank movie and everything. So it really comes down to how well the adapters adapt that for you to be able to then talk and speak.
Yes.
Yeah. It is interesting because one of the questions that came up is what did Brad Pitt's character do in Italy when he was pretending to be Italian, I guess in the movie theater, I think is when, how was that handled in Italy? But you may not remember, Sandro, I don't know.
I don't understand.
So there was in Inglourious Bastards, I believe if I remember the story correctly, they go into the movie
yeah.
and he's supposed to speak Italian there. So
we spoke Sicilian.
Okay, wow. Very good. Okay, all right, good. So that was one of the questions. So good. Let's talk a little bit about. I want to talk about Interview with a Vampire. I'm not sure if you all did that movie or not. None of you did it? Is that no? Okay.
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't
okay.
either.
I don't know. Sandro, maybe did you do Interview with a Vampire?
Yeah.
You did. So that was a very eloquent in English. The way he spoke was very eloquent. He was supposed to be a very sophisticated person because he had been sort of part of the aristocratic, South. How did you capture that in the actual film?
I remember my recitation was ciao, how are you? Come stai? I spoke always with a tone of a vampire. Oh, hey, always the same. But it was a great movie. Sincerely. I don't love this movie, this type of movies. But Brad Pitt was really good in this in those movies.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was a good movie. I mean, I think he has made so many great movies, and his career has evolved. He really has grown a lot professionally. I if you look at the whole body of his work, you can tell a big difference. It's interesting that you mentioned A River Runs Through It, because I love that film. I think it's a beautiful film for so many reasons. And he's not that big a role in that film. He's not the main character, but he's a very important, even though he's not in the film that much, he's a very important character. And so such a great film and great actor. Let's talk a little bit. I want to answer a couple questions. So one of the questions is from a subtitler, and trying to understand how much do actors get involved in the translation or the adaptation. I imagine it's primarily when something's not working that you might get involved. So maybe Jean-Pierre, you could speak to that a little bit, how much the change happens. Yeah.
I already talked about that, but it's like that. When you sometimes something is written, and when you play it, it doesn't fit in the mouth movement. So we have to change, to adapt, to add words, to pull words out. So we have to make a mix to make it match. And sometimes it's written, but it's not spoken. And we have to find words that's more acted and more played, if I may say. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Not literary, and sometimes it's too literary, too written, so that's where we can act and we can intervene.
Yeah, about 20 years ago, I did a project with Harrison Ford, and we were recording it. And he looked at me kind of angry, and he said, "You can read this, but you can't say it."
Right.
And then so we had to get the pencil out and make some adjustments. Talk a little bit. Somebody asked the question that maybe I can answer, which says, "Are the majority of American films dubbed or subtitled?" And I would say that the answer to that really is depending on the region. So these actors are all primarily from the FIG, so French, Italy, Germany, and Spain. And those are traditionally dubbed markets, as is Brazil and some Japan, some other markets. So it's really, just to answer that person's question, it really depends on the region and whether there's a tradition around watching things dubbed or subtitled. For instance, the Nordics has a more of a tradition of subtitling. And so it's really just regional. I just wanted to answer that question for somebody. And then there's somebody that has been waiting a long time, about 40 minutes, to have this question answered, which is, how does your approach differ voicing different actors? So in other words, do you try to pick up little characteristics of that actor when you're doing your dubbing? I'll throw that out to anybody that would like to answer it.
Yes, it's a yes. I just need to hear the timbre, the voice, and the dynamics and the meaning of why is something said the way it's said. Pick it up and try to project it after to produce the same kind of emotion and feeling and sound.
Right. So
I never
go ahead.
Personally, I never change my voice range. I don't play differently. I don't act differently. But the American actor speaks slower, faster, higher, lower, with different rhythms, and we have to adapt to follow him, and that's the way to be the closest to the original. And the way to do that makes us different, even if it's the same voice.
Yeah.
And people don't recognize the us from one actor to another this way.
Perfectly agree. It's so. Jean-Pierre says the right thing. It's not to change the voice. You change your acting, your intentions, your approach to the actor. not the voice. I have this voice from 30 years, and so I don't change the voice. I change
Right.
the acting.
So somebody asked a question. I don't think they asked a pretty long question. I don't think I'm going to get to the whole question, but what I will ask is a question that I had as well, which is when there's you all play multiple voices. So what happens when those maybe two of the actors that you play are in the same movie, like an Ocean's 13 or something like that? How does that get handled? And how does somebody substitute for one of the actors? How does that get handled?
Well, I had the problem with two of Brad Pitt films, Cartel and 12 Years a Slave, where he was with Michael Fassbender, which I dubbed too. And that was terrible for me because I love Michael Fassbender and I love this actor as much as I love Brad Pitt. But that's not my choice. And I've been doing Brad Pitt since longer than Michael Fassbender. So I did Brad Pitt, and the studio wanted me to do Brad Pitt, and had a friend of mine doing Michael Fassbender for that.
I see. Tobias, have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, I had it, and it's the studio decision. It's not made by me. Only one time I was asked which one of the two would you like to do. It was not Brad Pitt, some decision, but two actors I did, and so I said, well, the one who's not dying first, the one who's dying second, I would do that.
Right. Yeah. What's the loop count, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit. I'll ask two provocative questions because we only have 6 minutes, so I can ask the really hard questions at the end. What is dubbing an art or is it a utility, and why?
It's both.
It's both. Okay.
Yeah, it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
It's both.
I agree.
So why
Yeah,
though?
I agree.
Why is that?
Because we have to. If not, no French people, no German people, no Italian people would watch your films, whatever happens. Everybody doesn't read with ease on the screen the subtitles. They just want to let go for the images they are watching. They just want to be available to emotions. So they need the voice to come to them, not them to come to see and understand what happens on the screen. That's the utility part. And through that part, we cannot just make over voices. We have to act, we have to incarnate, we have to perform what's on the screen. So the audience thinks that's perfectly natural. There's no catch in that. That's Brad Pitt, that's Robert Downey Jr., that's, I can see them, I can watch and hear them, and that doesn't make any problems to me.
Yeah.
That's the art part.
So maybe it's an artistic utility.
Indeed.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Very good.
It's like if you have the subtitles, you hear, you don't understand the language, not necessarily to be English, could be any other language. You don't understand it. It's not dubbed, and you read the subtitles. You can't write everything down, what is said in any language, because it's too much. It would fill up too much of your screen. So the adapter who's adapting the subtitles, or he has to cut out information and some things which might important but can't be filled in. And then secondly or thirdly, the people who watch it, they can't read all the time. That's what Sandro said, you want, and Jean-Pierre, you want to relax, you want to watch the movie, you don't want to read all the time and don't see the acting. It's controversial. And so I guess that's the reason why like Netflix and so on are now dubbing content from other, like German, France, Italy, Spain, something they shot there in the language there, and then they produce this content and they need to be dubbed. So about dubbing in the USA, which is increasing now, obviously, a lot. And so that's important, and you're not always in the cinema. Sometimes you're watching it on like my computer here, and then you have a very tiny little words going there, and then you don't want to see. You want to watch the movie on the iPad or whatever, and then you can't even you don't even see the subtitles. So it's a piece of art. It's a piece of artistic work or voice work, and it's as we all said, as good if it's done very good. It's good for the audience if they don't realize it's dubbed.
So we have, I think we have like almost 25 or 30 film students on this webinar. And if they're successful in a way that has never been true before, they will have really global content. They will be making movies and TV shows that people will enjoy all over the world, because streaming platforms have made it easier for people to see their content. So what would you like them to know about dubbing? Maybe we'll start with Sandro for this question. What would you like film students to know?
Sorry, I don't understand what they like.
Well, what would you think is important for them to know about dubbing?
Do you see?
Yeah, we've lost you a little bit. Maybe Jean-Pierre, we could go with you and we'll come back to Sandro.
I don't understand.
They have to think and to remember that dubbing is a very important part for them if they want to be seen all over the world. Because that's the only way for 95% of French people or German people to watch American movies, TV shows, and that's the only way for them to watch that. If they don't have that dubbing part well done and worked on, not sacrificed on budget problems, they will watch it. If they only have subtitles or original version, most of them won't. That's
it's pretty important to their content, basically.
Yes,
it's a problem
here.
Yeah,
the problem in Italy there isn't, because in Italy we are always we dub all the titles, but I think it's a choice. If you want to see subtitles, you see subtitles. But if you want to see a movie dubbed, it's better to see a movie dubbed, because you can appreciate the performance of the actors without subtitles.
Yeah. Tobias, I'll let you have the last word. What would you tell these young filmmakers about localization and dubbing and how it impacts their art?
Well, it's a very important thing. And if you start to be a dubbing director in the US and you dub something from German into English and you try to adapt it, just don't be greedy on the budget, or let the people who are producing it not be greedy on the budget. Take your time, enjoy the work. It's fun, and it needs time, it needs money, and it needs some peace. And it shouldn't be treated as too much as a cost factor. It should be also looked at as a piece of art of the whole project.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank all of the Brad Pitts. So Tobias Meister,
thank you.
Jean-Pierre and Sandro, thank you so much. It's been really awesome. And I look forward to hearing you in German and French and Italian very soon. Take care.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye-bye.
You can hear us on Netflix.
On Netflix. Very good. All right. Very good. Thank you all. Take care.
Bye.